I remember playing in an abandoned gas station in front of like 20 people. And as soon as we got off stage, Newfound Glory played.
Really? Our podcast is all about you, your journey in music. We'll talk about the new Light the Torch record and how you guys got to where you are now.
All right.
Cool. So Howard, first off, where were you born and raised?
Columbus, Ohio.
Really?
Yeah.
I have family in Cleveland. I've been to Columbus a handful of times. Buckeyes fan, I would assume?
If you want to say that. I mean, I really don't follow a ton of sports anymore.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just know that's a huge thing. Like, if anything happens, like, it's like front page news, right? Like, the quarterback was seen in the Burger King yesterday.
Oh yeah, I definitely remember those days. But yeah, it's been a long time since I've like followed the Buckeyes and college football and all that good stuff. But
Sure.
yeah.
I was just curious. I know that's like it's in the DNA of Columbus, Ohio. So I was just curious.
Yeah, yeah. If you live there, that's just what it is.
Right. Very cool. Well, how did you get into music?
I mean, I sang in choir and stuff like that when I was a kid, and or just like in church a little bit, when I was really young, and then I sang in choir when I was in like middle and high school.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was it. I just listened to a lot of music, and just getting into it was kind of by chance. So someone asked me to be in a band, and okay, I'll try, and kind of went from there.
Okay. Were you always just a vocalist, or did you have to take piano lessons as a kid, or anything like that?
No, just all vocals. I was never really accomplished at trying to play stuff because sitting still is not something I'm good at.
Okay.
Yeah.
So choir as a child, when did you play in that first band? Like, do you remember being asked to play in the band, or did the members know that you could sing? Like, how did that work?
Yeah, guitar player somehow I found out that I sang in a little bit in high school, like 2 years in choir, and just I don't know how he found that out. It was, to this day I still don't know how he found out. And well, he told me there was from another guy, and I still don't know how he found out. But anyway, that's the thing. I didn't publicize it or nothing. It's like, hey, nice to meet you. I was in choir, so I have no idea how this came about. But he asked me to try it out, and I think it was, wow, I think I was 21.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah,
So you didn't get into music until much later then. I mean, as far as band goes.
Yeah. First band. Yeah.
Wow. Were you like in college or something, like, or what were you up to during this time? Were you just working?
Yeah. Just working regular, boring jobs. And just, I said, it was just kind of by chance. Like, sure, I'll give it a shot. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay. And were you still in Columbus at the time?
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah.
With this band, like, was it something that you guys, I mean, obviously were you taking it pretty seriously? Like, how long did this band kind of stick around for?
I mean, we played a lot of weekend shows, or we'd play during the week if we could. It was metal, almost, I don't know, kind of Pantera-ish, if you want to say something like that, but also kind of metalcore. But it was just us getting involved in us first starting all this heavy music, and oh boy, it's just the first incarnations, not great,
Sure.
That sort of thing. But it was fun,
Okay.
But anyway, what was the question?
I was just curious, like, how long the band was around for, like.
Yeah, it was maybe a couple of years, but then my guitarist was he was getting married, and it was going to be moving back to the East Coast and also to work for the family business. And
Mhm.
he's like, "Hey, I understand if you guys don't want to do that, but love to keep doing music." And it's like, so yeah, if you guys want to take the shot, come on out east. Maybe we could figure out where to stay and that sort of stuff. So I thought, well, why not? I was still young at the time, so I was like, yeah, worst comes to worst, I moved back to Ohio. So
Mhm.
Intercept moved out to Connecticut, and we kind of got the band together, started trying to write music, wrote some stuff, played a show, and I think that's when I realized, oh man, I've got some work to do because bands are really good around here. But, but yeah, that was like a 3-year period. So I think yeah, we were kind of messing around in Ohio, just playing shows here and there for about
Mhm.
2 or 3 years, and then I moved out to Connecticut, and then uh, a couple of the guys stayed for a while and then moved. But then me and the guitarist, we kept doing stuff, and then band changed names, more people coming and going, and then it kind of solidified. So there was this. So that's like I just condensed like a 4-year process of like moving to Connecticut and then getting this starting Blood Has Been Shed.
Okay. And you did Blood Has Been Shed for, I mean, a number of years, right? But you were
Yeah.
kind of doing multiple bands at the same time?
Yeah, well, like I said, when we moved out, like me and the guitarist, we eventually Blood Has Been Shed ended up being the band. Like that
Okay.
was my main band for a while,
Mhm.
and we just toured as much as we could, and then um, we put out our own album. Just and then we put out an album that was on Ferret Records, and that was Carl Severson, who worked at Roadrunner, and
Okay.
so we and Carl had also put out he'd also put out the first EP from Killswitch.
Uh-huh.
So we're playing a lot of shows there with those 2 CDs, and just touring as much as we could, but still working jobs and doing that sort of thing. And we'd even had um, we'd even had a meeting with Roadrunner. Husband Shed did.
Wow.
Yeah, very peculiar. But then we all kind of got busy doing our own things in life for a bit, and then uh, Killswitch came about. That opening came, and I went in there. So,
Wow.
like I said, just kind of condensing all that because it's a lot to
Yeah, a
tell.
lot of years there. I mean, a big history with all those bands. But with I'm just curious on the Blood's Been Shed thing, where signing with Ferret, that must have been a big moment for you, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, I never put expectations on what I was doing, even if that hey, maybe a label will be interested, or that's always great. But I think I always looked at things pretty. You can say realistic, you can say negative. It's just I was under no assumption that things were going to
like blow up.
snowball. Yeah,
Right,
there was
right.
no snowball in my eyesight, even if we're talking. Yeah, it's not going to happen. No, but I would still just keep working. So I never had real expectations like that.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. But you guys
So
were obviously active touring, and what was I mean, tell me about those early tours. Was it hard to was it all DIY, like book it yourself? Like were you able to jump on shows with other bands and friends
yeah,
bands and
yeah, there was plenty of that where it was um, DIY networking to get tours, and playing. I mean, starting off, you're playing basements, backyards, garages. That there was plenty of that in my past, in the 90s in the Midwest, and playing out fields and things like that. And then moving out in late 90s, early 2000s, blood's been shed. There were plenty of small shows, tiny clubs where only, the bartenders watching you.
Right.
Plenty of those shows, VFW halls. And I remember playing in an abandoned gas station in front of like 20 people. And as soon as we got off stage, Newfound Glory played.
Really?
And that's just one random story. That played so many strange little shows all over the place, and just unexpected stuff that's happened over the years. But yeah, it's a lot to tell.
Yeah.
And I don't remember all that.
Well, it's funny to think like how many people would just kill to see that show with you performing to 20 people nowadays.
There was so much of that, so many shows in basements, and especially in New England. Shout out to Stonky. I don't know if I barely remember his real name anymore, but he would put on shows, and it was notorious playing in his basement. And played with so many hardcore bands, and just the New England, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont. It was just this porridge of bands that just kept playing, and it was always cold, and there was a lot of metal.
Right. Yeah, there was a lot of rad metal bands that came out, and hardcore bands
Absolutely.
were up in that scene in those years.
Yeah, definitely. Getting to see bands come up, and I mean, like Unearth, like Bane,
Right.
like,
Converge was from there.
Converge. Yeah, I mean, been around for so many. I was at like some of the very first Hatebreed shows.
That's crazy.
As a matter of fact, the first show that I played when I moved out to New England, we finally, all right, let's play, and we sounded terrible, and but we didn't care because we were playing our first show, and Jamie booked it, and there was nobody there. I mean, but what do you expect? Nobody knew who we were. So
right.
But yeah, it's just funny that he's still one of my best friends. I still have ties to all that. It's
right.
I never expected that when I moved out here. I thought maybe I'll get 6 months out of this, and then I'll move back to Ohio. But
right.
Here I am.
6 months turns into X amount of years later, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. Do you remember the moment when you were able to quit the part-time jobs, the full-time jobs that you had prior to, and just focus on music full-time?
Yeah, that was right around the Killswitch time.
Okay.
So yeah, there was, once those tours came up, you're done.
Right.
There was just too much.
Going on. Did you call your boss and were you like, yo, I'm kind of like going to be gone forever. I'm going to be, be a rock star now. Like,
pretty much. It's like, yeah, I'm kind of done. Just gonna give it a shot. But that's the thing. I've always just been like, if it doesn't work out, just find another job. And
sure.
I didn't know. I don't think any of us really knew. But I was, we did like 2 tours in the States. Well, Killswitch, when I first jumped in. Well, we played Hellfest. Toured with Poison the Well, Shadows Fall, and Kitty.
Wow.
And then we toured with In Flames and Sentenced and Dark Tranquility. And then we went overseas for about 2 months. So yeah, the job was nobody was working the job there. It was just
right.
done. So that was just like the jump, and that's what I thought. I'm like, okay, well, I can't see this working, and in my head, I just didn't see it. So I'm like, well, I got to go overseas for the first time. You know, that's I'm like, well, I'll at least get that out of it, and I'll
What-
probably end up moving back home or living with my mom or something. I don't know. But it's
Right.
just like I'm always just like, okay, I'll figure out the next step when I get there.
Sure, sure. But wow, that must have been cool. That had you ever been overseas, or was the first time like
No,
I mean,
there.
an artist too? I mean, how cool to
Oh,
be.
pretty much everything to me was just kind of a culture shock. I mean, I didn't know what to expect. I just didn't. So yeah, just we didn't know what kind of reception we would get, and it was really great. I mean, everything from like the food to fans, it was just different.
Uh-huh.
And and that's when I think that's the first time I realized, oh, I think I have real anxiety.
Like, what were the size of the shows that you guys were playing? Like, was Killswitch pretty? I mean, you came on the third record. They probably had some success at that point, I would imagine.
Well, I I came in. I recorded the third record. The first one was on Ferret, and then the second one came out on Roadrunner. But I basically toured that whole cycle.
Okay.
But yeah, so I came out during the second album, which was the first on Roadrunner. So
Right. So you
that
guys were on a major label at that. I mean,
yeah,
you jumped
but
to a band on a major.
yeah, and it's just like the album hadn't been out very long at all when I joined. It,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and so Jesse had left, and he just got married, and so he had left the band, and then I came in and basically did the whole 2-year touring cycle, and so this was overseas was I believe the third tour,
Wow.
that I was on. So it was a lot, and the shows. I think the biggest was maybe I don't know 1,500 to 2,000, something like that.
That's
Um,
huge.
and I think the very first one, I think there was around 1,000 people. It was something like that. I just didn't know what to expect, so I was kind of I was kind of floored by
Uh-huh.
everything.
Was
Yeah,
that the
and
biggest crowds that you had ever performed to?
no, playing Hellfest.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah, I played Hellfest with Buzzman Shed, and some various little festivals here and there, and even on the tour with Poison the Well, Shadows Fall, and
Oh,
Kitty,
yeah.
and like
Those must have been, yeah,
there were some
pretty
big
big.
shows.
Sure, sure, sure.
But yeah, it's just as we were closing the night and on this Roadrunner Road Rage tour, and it was it was all very different for me. I didn't know what was going on. I was just okay. I'll just
Just
do this.
strap in and go.
So yeah, definitely first time going anywhere remotely this far away from everything I knew.
Right. Wow. And then so when does the Kill the Torch come into play?
No, what was that?
I'm sorry. So like once you're in Killswitch for a number of years, and then
Mhm.
you guys were Devil prior to Kill the Torch. I mean,
Or
Light the
Light the
Torch.
Torch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Left Killswitch. That basically just was done. I really didn't even think I was going to do music again. And I didn't even have a cell phone for over 3 years. It was interesting.
Wow. Was it
Yeah.
just like I mean, I don't know how, if you even want to get into it, but like you left the band, and was there like, I mean, I'm sure there's a reason why you left, but was it because you were just, I mean, at that point you said you were kind of just done with
Oh,
it. You didn't want
oh,
to be in music anymore.
I was burnt out, absolute mess mentally, just kind of broke down. It was and just physically and mentally was not doing well.
Uh-huh.
Um, had to actually become diabetic too, which was
Oh,
not great.
wow. I'm
Um,
sorry, man. Yeah, that is
oh,
rough.
what's nice, I mean, I haven't had to deal with I haven't had to deal with penicillin, I think, in like 6 years or something like that. So
Oh, really? That's huge. That's amazing.
yeah, doing well. So yeah, but honestly, I didn't think music was in the cards for me at all. There was just so much unaddressed everything going on in my life and head, and just the depression and all the different medications I tried, and
Sure.
everything from Seroquel to what was some of those other ones? Wellbutrin.
Oh, dude, I've had to take all of those. Seroquel.
Yeah.
I still
So
have to
yeah,
take Seroquel.
yeah.
Gotta,
So Seroquel
yeah.
gave me crazy side effects where I just had I would have tremors in the middle of the night, and just my
Really?
neck would just snap, and it didn't go away for like 6 months, even after I stopped taking the medication. They
Oh
said
my,
it could be one of the side effects, and that one definitely that one was
oh
for me.
my gosh. I'm so sorry. I take
No,
like a low, like I use it to go to sleep because I'm notorious, like would wake up like every like hour and a half. I could not get like more than 4 hours of sleep. But
yeah,
doctor prescribed me that, and I was like,
I'm
out.
still I'm still that way. It's like I eventually just stopped trying, and by stop trying, that means I just get up, and it's generally 3 o'clock in the morning. So
Oh my
that's pretty much what
gosh.
time I'm up every day.
Ah, that's
But yeah,
rough,
I
man. I'm so
no
sorry.
no more medications though. And so no
That's
big.
great. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. I had to stop that, and also just me being more active, and I love being outdoors, and just I just kind of gave into the ADHD in me, and so that
Sure.
me that I stay active, keep my mind stimulated, and it's helped.
That's
It's helped. It's
amazing.
taken a long time to finally kind of figure out that's what I need to do. But yeah, I'm up that early, and I'm outside. I love being outside and seeing the sunrise. Yeah, so
Well, I'm glad you're able to like, yeah, kind of make that like get over that hump. I mean, that's crazy I can't imagine having those side effects and all that going on.
oh, it was horrible.
Oh
But
my.
anyway,
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
you're an avid fisherman though, right? So that must be part. I mean, that's the best time to fish, right? In the middle of the
oh yeah,
morning.
oh yeah, just dawn, dusk, just anytime it's cooler, really. But yeah, it's quiet, and I still love music. I kind of lost it there a bit, kind of
Hmm.
found a love for it, but still, I know I need to have a breather from it. And sometimes or basically all the time for me, it's an everyday thing. I need to be outside, just because I'm going to be listening to music and writing and
Hmm.
singing and doing stuff all day. So that to me is how I figured out I'm not going to go crazy because I submerge in it. If I like something, I'm in it and
Sure.
I dive deep. So it's just the balance.
Uh-huh.
Take a breather from it, and then get in, do your thing, but make sure you're away from it occasionally. So
Right.
yeah. So like peaceful things like that, just being in the woods, I love it.
Hmm.
Uh Fishing, love it.
Hmm. Did you move to LA? I don't, because didn't the band form in LA or no? Am I
Yeah,
mistaken?
the band's formed in LA. I'm kind of a nomad, so I just have places everywhere that I can kind of hang the hat, because
Okay.
I don't know, I think maybe it's because when I was younger, like my family, we moved a lot. And
Okay.
so for me, I'm just not stationary. I'm never stationary. And ended up having some places up in Canada, which is really cool. Just my
That's
back door.
awesome.
Open up the back door, right on the water. So
Wow.
yeah, so I can just sit and fish off my dock. So that was kind of nice. Just
Yeah.
haven't got to fish in a while because I've just been working nonstop over the past year and a half, 2 years.
Okay. Working. I mean, you got a new record coming out, which we'll get to. So tell me, like, what was there some like what brought you back to music, and why did you then again join or form what is now Light the Torch?
Uh, yeah. Basically, what else was I gonna do? I just was sitting around doing nothing, and I think I was starting to go even more insane by not doing anything. I wasn't active. And, I'd gotten a lot of time away from it. And it's like, okay, maybe I can dip my toe in and give it a shot. So that's what I tried to do. And, that's what I tried to do with Devil, and it's just a bunch of weird circumstances happened. So we decided to let the name go. But still Francesco, Ryan, and I, we went ahead and said, okay, we're getting rid of that name, getting rid of that music, and we're going to start Light the Torch. So kind of had to dump the Devil, but yeah, Light the Torch. We're very glad that this was our decision.
Okay. And then did you guys start? 2012 was when Devil started, or when did you officially start Light the Torch?
Yeah, it was, I think maybe 2013 was Devil, and we put out 2 albums, and then I believe, yeah, it's like 2017, I believe we kind of ended Devil, and
Okay.
then we started writing completely different music for Light the Torch.
Okay. And then you guys put out that first Light the Torch record in 2018, which did phenomenal, right? I mean, were you expecting that success? I mean,
no, common theme there. I have no expectations,
no expectations.
of anything, man. I really don't. I never know what's going to happen. I don't like to assume it because, and just, yeah, I don't like to deal in false hope or anything like that. So just like, okay, yeah, I know everyone put everything they could into it. Let's give it a go, and then we move forward.
Sure.
Yeah.
What was it? So you put that record out, obviously does really well. And then you're on to your third album now.
Well, this is a second album with Light the Torch.
Oh yeah, sure. Okay. So you did.
Yeah, I know our story can be a little confusing.
Okay. So yeah. So the first record came out. Did you did a lot of touring with that album? I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, various tours with went from toured with Guar, we toured with
Oh wow.
Avatar and Trivium. There's various others that are just escaping me at the moment, but yeah, there was a lot of great touring.
Okay.
And that was the other thing too, is just started our tour with August Burns Red and Killswitch, and we had 2 shows, and then the world came to
Oh
a
my
halt.
gosh. Yeah, I was going to ask you. So that's where you guys were when when the virus hit and all of that.
Yeah,
And obviously you must be still good friends with the guys in Killswitch if you're touring with them.
absolutely.
That's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Well, tell me about those 2 shows then. So I've talked to people where they've either had the experience where, they played a couple shows and then the world stopped, or like they were kind of hearing about the virus and they were kind of dodging it in the sense of like they'd be in one city and then the next day that city would shut down. And then, or you're seeing the shows that maybe a sold out show and
Mhm.
only 2/3 of the audience would show up. Were you seeing any of that?
It wasn't really like that for us. Like there was great attendance on those first 2 shows, but then I think Live Nation had completely pulled out of everything. And so with them being a good chunk of our venues,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, I don't remember the exact details, but yeah, after the second show, just we all got messages like, this is done, it's over, you're going home.
Oh, wow. Were you getting you must have been getting wind of the virus. Was it a
Oh
concern
yeah.
at all for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, I kind of don't remember a lot of that now. It was a weird time. I mean, I think we definitely all thought we're not going to make it all the way through this tour.
Mhm.
I mean, it was still the very beginning of all of that. So
Right.
just didn't know. But yeah, we 2 shows in and it was done.
Oh my gosh. So then you go home and then what? Is it just like, hopefully this will blow over in 2 weeks and we'll be able to continue on with the tour, or?
Um, I had no illusion of it being over in any short period of time.
Okay, so you kind of were, you knew that this was going to be a thing.
I had an inkling this for everything to get stopped like that, for just, and our tour was a decent size, but just for
It was
even
huge. Let's
some,
be real.
some of these huge tours, just everything got shut down. It's like, yeah, this is this isn't going to be a quick fix. Uh,
Right.
so yeah, and so figured I'd sit back and wait it out. So I decided to wait and see what would happen. And thing is, a few days before the tour started, we had just finished all of our parts in the album. So it hadn't been mixed or mastered, but literally about 2 days before tour started, we had finished recording everything.
For this new record.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
so then we leave for tour, then everything shuts down and we go back home. And then I think everybody just kind of acclimated over time and then slowly started mixing and mastering it.
Okay. So the record was recorded, done, all the songs written, and right before the tour. And you guys have had to hold on to it. I mean, the album's coming out, what, 2 weeks from today?
Something like that. Yeah.
The
I'm lost
25th,
a
I
little
believe.
bit.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
not next Friday, the following Friday. I mean, what was it like to have this album done and kind of having to sit on your hands? Like, okay.
That's where I keep my brain occupied. So and honestly, I don't sweat stuff like that. It just, it is what it is.
Uh-huh.
I think I'm I'm accustomed to life's quirky little turns and disappointments, if you want to call it like that. And it's like, yeah, we have all this music, and oh man, it'd be great to get it out, but it'll come out. So
Right.
I really just don't get huffy about that stuff. I don't. And also it's where me, I'll just stay busy. And
Uh-huh.
that to me kind of calms the crazy. So I ended up writing an album with Jared Dine. So that's what I've been doing during that, and some different appearances and some vocal work and things like that. So I just
You're
don't stop doing stuff.
Yeah, you're able to keep busy. Is that the Scion album?
Yeah.
Okay. So is that a project that you put together during this whole kind of quarantine?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me about that a little bit, if you don't mind talking about it.
No, not at all. Well, I met Jared when Light the Torch was on tour with Avatar and Trivium, and Matt, and he had to leave tour because his wife was going to be giving birth.
Uh-huh.
And so to keep the tour going, had some guests come in and, like just help with the set. So Jared was playing guitar, filling in for guitar, and uh, everyone was kind of pitching in a little bit, doing vocals. I think I was doing around 9 songs of their set.
Wow.
So Jared was doing their whole set, and just that's how I got to meet him, and just ended up liking him. Is just a nice guy. So
Sure.
talk a little bit, and then at some point I was like, hey, we should do something in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just kept in touch, and so occasionally just text, say, hey, what's going on, man? We chat a little bit, and about a year later or so, the world stopped. And so
Everybody has plenty of time.
yeah, so yeah, I guess it took a little time to kind of get acclimated, figure out what's going on with
Mm-hmm.
the world, and like, okay, this is awful. I can't just sit.
Right.
So like, okay, let's try and do this. So reached out to him, and he was down to do it. And so we slowly started writing some music, and now we're about I think we demoed about 15 or 16 songs and whittled it down to 12. So
Wow.
there we go.
So is that a
So now,
record so you have a whole record? Because right now you only have one song out, right? Just The Blade, or
yeah,
do you have?
yeah, just
Okay.
one song's out, and now we're just trying to um just tighten up everything and
Mhm.
make sure we don't put it out and regret it. Like, that should have been changed. So yeah, we're just trying to tighten up everything as best we can.
Well, the first song has gotten amazing response, at least on Spotify. I mean, it has over 1.5 million plays.
Yeah, had no idea. And yeah, Jared and I were just talking a few days ago. It just went over 2 million views on YouTube.
That's
So yeah,
huge.
we had no idea. No
That
idea.
that is so cool. Is that a project you're gonna possibly play live? Like, is that the hope with it, or is it just kind of like we're doing this thing over quarantine? We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, this was something Light the Torch is my
Main focus.
yeah, is my main focus. It's number one. But
Uh-huh.
who knows?
Okay.
This was just something that I just thought this will be fun to do. And
Mhm.
it's become something more than I expected.
Mhm. With Light the Torch, were you guys working on music at all during the past year, or is it we have the record done, let's just kind of focus on
Oh,
that and wait
oh
till that
no,
comes out?
we were mixing and mastering, and everyone was doing a bunch of different stuff, and so yeah, it's kind of nice to take a little bit of a breather. But yeah, I'm sure it won't be too long before we start throwing our hat into some more music.
Mhm.
That's
Wow.
it. Fran is an amazing guy, and he's prolific. That man likes to write.
Okay. And you guys just announced at least one show. You're playing Rocklahoma, which is huge. Obviously,
Yeah,
the lineup there is crazy.
we've got a few festivals lined up, and I'm trying to remember. Yeah, they'll come to me. I'm just forgetting at the moment.
Okay. Uh,
Um, there's one in Alabama. Furnace Fest. That's it.
okay.
Yeah, that's
So
a pretty big one.
yeah, so that's coming up. Rocklahoma's coming up. Obviously, you probably haven't played a show in a year and a half.
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting.
Probably going
I
to be pretty emotional moment, I would think.
Yeah, just to be in front of people again is it's going to be alarming. I mean, it's an unnatural feeling as it is. I mean, I still enjoy performing and entertaining and everything, but being in front of a large group of people it's weird.
Right. I know.
It's
And
unnatural. It's not something that you're supposed to do.
it's
And
not natural.
it's not.
I love that. That's so
So it's
funny.
weird, but I mean, I get a kick out of it. But yeah, every show I'm still a mess before we go on.
Really?
Oh yeah, I still get nerves. I still just start. I'm sweating before the first song starts.
Really? How quickly is it after the first, few, verses or bars? Is it like, okay, now I'm good? Like, how quickly does it kind of shake
Yeah, I don't
off?
know if I'm good, but it's just like, okay, you're doing it now.
Well, there's no stopping now.
I know.
Right.
You making a fool of yourself is complete. So just continue. So yeah, I just kind of plow ahead.
Okay.
But yeah, you think over all this time that feeling would go away.
Uh-huh.
Wrong.
Wrong. And yeah, you answered my question before I had a chance to ask it. I was gonna ask you if you felt like you'd have to kind of shake the cobwebs out as far as like getting back on the stage and not being nervous, but it sounds like you're already nervous if you're
Oh
playing back
yeah.
to back to back to back to back anyway.
Oh yeah. I'm a pre-wreck right now. Right. No, I mean I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it because I'm going to be up there with some of my best friends. So that's fantastic.
Mhm.
But don't forget, this is unnatural.
I love that. I was curious because I was talking to Hunter from AFI and they have a new record coming out and they have some shows lined up. And he was telling me like, I'm kind of worried, like, similar situation where they had the whole record done in 2019 and they had this whole rollout plan, but he's like, I'm going to have to go back and try to even remember the songs. Is that something that you're kind of worried about at all?
Not really, but at the same time, you never know. Because I mean, yeah, new music, you always have to get acclimated to new music, especially when you're doing it live. Even if you get a chance to rehearse it, and just a different beast when you're in front of an ungodly amount of people and there's adrenaline and sweat and your in-ears aren't working and all, just it changes everything.
Right. Have you guys had a chance to play any of these songs live yet, or is it all going to be new?
Not live yet. I mean, we're definitely going to get together and go through stuff, and I think we're going to do a live stream, but it's still just, it's not the same as having just faces
real people in front of you. You're right.
Yeah.
Have you had you guys done a live stream yet or no?
We haven't done one yet, never done one like this, so it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to it.
That's cool. Is it like are you doing like a full set, or like how are you guys doing the live stream?
Yeah, it's going to be a full set, and it's part of the pre-buy of the album. Or that's the really stuff cool. I don't, the stuff I don't pay attention to.
You're like, where do I need to be? I got an interview with this idiot coming up this morning.
Anything that involves merchandise and social media, I have no idea what's happening. Count me out.
Oh, I love it. Well, I'm so excited that you guys are able to perform again. Like the fact that stuff's opening up, the fact that a huge festival like Rocklahoma is happening with, all these massive artists. There's got to be, I'm sure, a plethora of people there. So that's going to be cool. It's not these socially distanced like car shows and all the other.
It's going to be interesting to be, rubbing elbows with people again, and just seeing some familiar faces. And I think everybody's pretty excited to get back to it. It's going to be very sweaty.
Yeah, very sweaty.
Yeah.
And people have been, it's going to be, like I said, I feel it's going to be really an emotional moment, especially since everyone's been kind of itching to see a show, especially in the past. I've talked to other people about this. I think nowadays, or not nowadays, but like coming forward, like you see a show or people are kind of more like, Light the Torch will be back in 2 weeks or, in a few months. I'll catch them next time. I don't think people are going to be taking these shows for granted as much as they, maybe would have in the past. Like, oh, it's Thursday. Like, I don't really feel like, I got work in the morning, or I think people are going to be more.
Yeah. I think eventually, the vigor and fever will die down a bit, but this initial blast of shows, even if your band is terrible, I think there's going to be an audience for you.
Right.
Everyone is itching for live entertainment. Sure. It's like time to let Netflix breathe for a hot minute.
Right. I love it. And thank you so much, Howard, for doing this, man. I really, really appreciate you. This has been great.
Man, no problem.
I do have one more question for you before I let you go. Sure. Do you have any advice for aspiring artists?
Wow. I'd say, that's a broad question. What's helped me and what I didn't realize would help in a lot of ways was consistency. Was not like, oh, I sang this I sang this great every night or not. I never think like that. But I just mean trying to write every day just so that I'm in that mode, you know, because a lot of times the transition from playing live and then jumping into being creative, it was always kind of jarring. Sometimes it's just like your brain locks up, you know. Not that that happens with like everyone, but for me, it starting to write every day, even if it's just a few lines, you know, to whatever, to a whole song, or just, you know, doodling. I don't know, but just trying to be creative and be consistent with that, or uh, being on time to places. Just knowing that I'm going to write and that I'm going to be in the studio a lot. It's just like I make sure that I'm still going out every day. So like I'm very consistent with trying to take care of myself mentally and physically, and then doing the work. And it's kind of helped because I take on probably more than I should, but I'm real consistent with my schedule and just being kind of dialed in. It really helped. It kind of changed things for me.